Also ich hätte, ohne Scheiß, mir wäre das so ziemlich Bums gewesen. Aber ich habe es mir nicht genau durchgelesen. Ich habe nämlich nur gesehen, dass es halt eben nicht der Shit ist, wie es schon wieder dahingestellt wird. Und ich denke mir so, Digga, wie viel machen die aus von unserem Handel? Wie viel ist deren? Also wie viel Import nehmen wir von China?
Das glaube ich ist viel.
Ja, eben, ich sage ja, deswegen ist es ja erstmal, es klingt ja erstmal nicht dumm, wenn der Hauptimporteur in unser Land halt Vorteile hat, beziehungsweise wir dem ermöglichen bei uns.
Von 128 Milliarden.
Ja, guck mal, muss man gucken, im Vergleich der zweitplatzierte Importeur, der ist 50 Milliarden hinten dran. Die Vereinigten Staaten machen nur die Hälfte von den Chinesen der Import. Da finde ich so, das ist doch klar, ist doch logisch, sagt ja jeder BWLer, ist ja logisch, du musst den Hauptimporteur natürlich Benefits geben, wenn du der bist, der davon profitiert.
Ich finde es immer schwierig zu sagen, wer profitiert, weil das sind irgendwie immer so. Profitiert jetzt der mehr, der das Geld kriegt, oder profitiert der mehr, der die Ware kriegt? Das kommt ja drauf an, was du brauchst eher, oder?
Ja, und so natürlich profitieren beide Seiten, aber wenn es der Hauptimporteur ist, natürlich schon big. Und die Amis haben ja gleich dagegen gewirkt. Die haben ja gerade gesagt, dass bis zum Ende des Jahres wahrscheinlich noch ein Angriff auf Taiwan kommt.
Sagt.
Zufällig haben sie es wieder angesprochen, nachdem es aufkam.
Ich kann das einfach nicht nachvollziehen. Vielleicht. China ist genau das gleiche Spiel, die sind so groß, die brauchen doch nicht noch mehr. Hm. Die haben es schon geschafft, dass all ihre Oppositionelle in ein anderes Land gegangen sind. Kann man da damit nicht mal zufrieden sein? Hm.
Ich weiß es nicht, Jonas, ich weiß es nicht.
Es kann dir doch nichts Besseres passieren, oder? Wenn die freiwillig abziehen.
Müsste man glauben, ja.
Einzige, was halt Taiwan man ist halt wirtschaftlich unterwegs, ne? Hm.
7 Minuten sind dafür exakt vorgesehen.
Waren die das aber schon immer oder waren die das, nachdem die dann halt die Unterstützung bekommen haben?
Danach. Die haben ja ihre Regierung gegründet, wo die alle gegangen sind. Und dann haben ja die Oppositionelle im Prinzip dort die Regierung übernommen. Also demokratisch, war fein. Und dann ist bei denen bergauf gegangen. Ihr Hauptding war, glaube ich, sogar. Ihre zwei Hauptdinger sind, glaube ich, Militär und Chips.
Mhm.
Das halte mache ich auch mal hin. Liste der größten Unternehmen in Taiwan. Finanzmarkt auch. Zweimal. Chemikalien. China Trust Financial. Plastik. Kommunikation. Plastik. Kunststoff. Halbleiter. Bank. Kunststoff. Bank. Kunststoff. Telekommunikation. Ah, das ist ein Netzbetreiber. Plastik. So, manche Banken sind Versicherer. Ah, okay. Oh ne, das eine ist ein Ölunternehmen. Rat mal, auf was denen ihr größter Chip-Hersteller geschätzt wird.
Na gut, der wird ja gerade explodiert sein, ne? Wegen der Chipkrise, ne?
Ja gut, aber die haben auch eine ganze Fabrik verloren, ne?
Ja, bestimmt. Boah, keine Ahnung, was sind so Firmen wert?
160 Milliarden.
Ja, ist eine gute Firma.
Ne, die sind sogar gefallen. Denn ihr Börsenkurs
Aber
ist
ist halt die
gefallen.
Frage, ob die Chinesen gerade Embargo oder so gegen die haben, ob die gerade so frei handeln dürfen.
Aber sie sind immer noch auf einem Hochstand. 5 Jahre? 60. Sie sind auf dem Stand von Mitte Corona 2020, Mitte 20. Ne, Ende 2020. Was ist Tesla geschätzt? Komplett über. Ja. 670 Milliarden. Komplett übervalued. Was ist ein vernünftiges Unternehmen in Deutschland?
Vernünftiges Unternehmen in Deutschland.
Bosch?
Bayer.
Bayer. 50 Millionen. Milliarden. Ähnlicher Börsekurs.
Wenn er eins größer gehen will, wahrscheinlich Liebherr oder so oder BASF oder so. Aber die sind vielleicht schon wieder zu groß, oder?
Ja, ich will eigentlich nicht die Dinge, die Chemieunternehmen, weil die sind halt auch.
Oh, Liebherr ist aber ein Chemieunternehmen, oder?
Ne, deshalb habe ich die auch eingebe. Schweizer Unternehmen.
BASF?
Liebherr.
Nee, Liebherr ist doch nicht Schweiz.
Doch?
Liebherr.
Hahn. Ist doch nicht das Richtige.
Okay, wusste ich auch nicht. Dachte, die sind Ding.
Und der Generalinspekteur
Ich
der
dachte, die
Bundeswehr,
wären crazy Dudes.
Die sind Crazy Dudes, die sind Schweizer.
Zorn, den sehen wir ganz links im Bild.
Auch interessant, 2 Frauen aus der Union heutzutage, jetzt, wenn man sich die Auswahl anschaut.
Die sich zeitgleich von heute hier.
Das ist ja alles sehr durchchoreografiert. Jeder Schritt ist irgendwo geplant und Da wird nichts dem Zufall überlassen. Also wo sie jetzt hingeht und wie sie sich bewegt. Wir sehen, sie wird dann quasi eingewiesen und geht jetzt zum Rednerpult.
Aber vom Zapfenstreich selber ist noch nichts zu
Nein,
sehen. Das ist nur besagte Perlenkette.
Sehr geehrter
Angela
Herr
Merkel
Bundespräsident,
den Rücken zum Nahen.
sehr geehrte Frau
Schweizer, ey.
Bundestagspräsidentin, Exzellenzen, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, liebe Mitbürgerinnen, liebe Mitbürger. Wenn ich heute hier vor Ihnen stehe, dann empfinde ich vor allem dieses: Dankbarkeit und Demut. Demut vor dem Amt, das ich so lange ausüben durfte. Dankbarkeit für das Vertrauen, das ich erfahren durfte. Vertrauen, dessen war ich mir immer bewusst, ist das wichtigste Kapital in der Politik. Es ist alles andere als selbstverständlich. Und dafür danke ich von ganzem Herzen.
Bitte.
Mein Dank gilt auch Ihnen, Frau Bundesministerin, liebe Annegret, und der Bundeswehr für die Ausrichtung des großen Zapfenstreichs. Noch dazu an diesem in unserer Geschichte so bedeutsamen Ort des Bändlerblocks. Mein Dank gilt auch dem Stabsmusikchor der Bundeswehr für die musikalische Begleitung. Alles unter den so erschwerten Bedingungen der Pandemie. Besonders möchte ich deshalb zu Beginn auch an die denken, die sich zeitgleich mit all ihrer Kraft der 4. Welle der Pandemie entgegenstemmen, die alles geben, um Leben zu retten und zu schützen.
Frau
Die Ärztinnen und Ärzte, die Pflegerinnen und Pfleger in den Krankenhäusern, die Impfteams, die helfenden Hände in der Bundeswehr und in den Hilfsorganisationen. Ihnen allen gebühren mein und unser aller besonderer Dank und höchste Anerkennung. Heute am Tage habe ich mit den Regierungschefinnen und Regierungschefs der Länder noch in einer weiteren Pandemieberatung zusammengesessen. Jetzt, wenige Stunden später, darf ich mich in diesem feierlichen Rahmen nach 16 Jahren von Ihnen als Bundeskanzlerin verabschieden. Wenig zeigt so sehr wie diese Abfolge, in welch unglaublicher Zeit wir derzeit leben. Die 16 Jahre als Bundeskanzlerin waren ereignisreiche und oft sehr
Ich glaube, dass
herausfordernde
Angie
Jahre
gegangen ist, ist der Grund, warum
Sie
die
haben mich
Ukraine
politisch
invaded war.
und menschlich gefordert. Und zugleich haben sie mich immer noch erfüllt.
Okay.
Ganz besonders die vergangenen 2 Jahre der Pandemie haben wie in einem Brennglas gezeigt, von welch großer Bedeutung das Vertrauen in Politik, Wissenschaft und den gesellschaftlichen Diskurs ist, aber auch, wie fragil das sein kann. Unsere Demokratie lebt von der Fähigkeit zur kritischen Auseinandersetzung und zur Selbstkorrektur. Sie lebt vom steten Ausgleich der Interessen und von dem Respekt voreinander. Sie lebt von Solidarität und Vertrauen, im Übrigen auch von dem Vertrauen in Fakten und davon, dass überall da, wo wissenschaftliche Erkenntnis geleugnet, Verschwörungstheorien und Hetze verbreitet werden, Widerspruch laut werden muss.
Große Sorge um Angela Merkel beim Empfang
Unsere Demokratie
des
lebt auch
ukrainischen
davon,
Präsidenten Volodymyr Zelensky
dass überall da,
erlitt die
wo
deutsche
Hass und
Kanzlerin
Gewalt
offenbar
als
eine
legitimes
Art
Mittel zur
Schwächeanfall.
Durchsetzung
Sie machte
eigener
fahrende
Interessen
Handbewegungen.
erachtet werden.
Ihr Oberkörper begann zu zittern, dann auch ihre Beine. Ab und zu presste sie ihre Lippen aufeinander. Nach dem Ausklingen der Nationalhymne fing sich die 64-Jährige wieder. Den Rest der Zeremonie absolvierte Merkel bei Temperaturen um 30 Grad scheinbar mühelos, ohne sichtbare körperliche Probleme. Kurz darauf erklärte die Kanzlerin, sie habe 3 Gläser Wasser getrunken, das habe ihr offenbar gefehlt. Laut der Nachrichtenagentur dpa hatte Merkel früher bereits bei ähnlichen Gelegenheiten ein solches Zittern gezeigt. Damals sei jeweils Wassermangel bei großer Hitze als Ursache genannt worden. Der Antrittsbesuch von Zelensky konnte wie geplant fortgesetzt werden.
Unsere Toleranz als Demokratinnen und Demokraten ihre Grenze finden muss. Die vielfältigen Herausforderungen im Innern spiegeln sich auch im außenpolitischen Handeln wider Und zwar nicht erst seit der Pandemie. Denn schon die Finanz- und Wirtschaftskrise 2008 und die vielen Zuflucht suchenden Menschen 2015 haben deutlich gemacht, wie sehr wir auf die Zusammenarbeit über nationale Grenzen hinweg angewiesen sind, wie unverzichtbar internationale Institutionen und multilaterale Instrumente sind, um die großen Herausforderungen unserer Zeit bewältigen zu können: den Klimawandel, die Digitalisierung, Flucht und Migration. Ich möchte dazu ermutigen, auch zukünftig die Welt immer auch mit den Augen des anderen zu sehen. Also auch die manchmal unbequemen und gegensätzlichen Perspektiven des Gegenübers wahrzunehmen, sich für den Ausgleich der Interessen einzusetzen. Meine Damen und Herren, meine politische Arbeit wäre ohne die vielfältige Unterstützung politischer Weggefährten, national wie international, nicht möglich gewesen. Ihnen allen gilt mein großer Dank. Ich danke den Kolleginnen und Kollegen in der Bundesregierung, im Deutschen Bundestag und im Deutschen Bundesrat für unsere Zusammenarbeit. Ich danke auch für eine politische Streitkultur, um die uns viele andere Nationen beneiden. Einen ganz besonderen, herausgehobenen Dank schulde ich meinen engsten Mitarbeiterinnen und Mitarbeitern. Danke für alle Hilfe und alle Unterstützung. Und das gilt auch für meine Familie. Nun wird es an der nachfolgenden Regierung liegen, Antworten auf die vor uns liegenden Herausforderungen zu finden und unsere Zukunft zu gestalten. Hierfür wünsche ich Ihnen, lieber Olaf Scholz, und der von Ihnen geführten Bundesregierung alles, alles Gute und eine glückliche Hand und viel Erfolg. Ich bin überzeugt, dass wir die Zukunft auch weiterhin dann gut gestalten können, wenn wir uns nicht mit Missmut, mit Missgunst, mit Pessimismus, sondern, wie ich vor 3 Jahren in einem anderen Rahmen gesagt habe, mit Fröhlichkeit im Herzen an die Arbeit machen. So jedenfalls habe ich es immer für mich gehalten, in meinem Leben in der DDR und erst recht und umso mehr unter den Bedingungen der Freiheit. Es ist diese Fröhlichkeit im Herzen, die ich uns allen und im übertragenen Sinne unserem Land auch für die Zukunft wünsche. Ich danke Ihnen von Herzen.
Ja, eine kurze Ansprache. Sie hat sicherlich nicht überzogen. Interessant fand ich, sie sprach von einer unglaublichen Zeit ihrer 16-jährigen Amtszeit und darauf, dass die künftige Regierung natürlich jetzt Antworten finden müsse auf die Herausforderungen dieser Zeit. Aber sie empfahl mit Fröhlichkeit im Herzen. Ein gutes Stichwort. Fröhlichkeit passt ja zu Angela Merkel, auch wenn wir es heute natürlich hier an dieser Stelle.
Also im kleinen Kreis, ja, nach emotionaler vorstellen können. In 16 Jahren habe ich über ihren Ehemann. Sie hat natürlich Vertrag. Letztlich hat sie Politik zu machen. Alle nicht in die Kasse, die tut, was sie kann, die ist ehrlich und die Amts.
Dieser große hier, diesen
Also andere hat das zu Tränen gerührt. Und jetzt muss Thomas Wiegold gleich erklären, was wir sehen. Aber andere hat das zu Tränen gerührt, dieses Schauspiel, dieser Aufzug. Mal sehen, ob das bei Angela Merkel auch der Fall sein wird.
Ja, wir sehen, wie also die Ehrenformationen und das Musikchor einmarschieren zu den Klängen des Yorkschen Marsches. Jetzt beginnt also dieses sehr choreografierte Zeremoniell. Die nehmen jetzt ihre Position ein. Wir werden gleich noch einige als erstes diese Sucht gesucht hat. Hier ist es wirklich ein Wunder. Auffällig ist ja, die Kanzlerin sitzt, da hatten wir schon kurz drüber gesprochen. Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, die Verteidigungsministerin genauso und auch der Generalinspekteur. Also da haben die dann einfach die Entscheidung getroffen, wenn, dann sitzen alle. Das macht auch sicherlich ein sinnvolleres Bild, als wenn die Kanzlerin säße und die anderen stehen würden, wie es eigentlich üblich ist.
Um mal kurz das Wort sitzen jetzt als ein Schleudersitz. Also der eigentlich ja gestärkt hervorgegangen ist, der an Image noch gewonnen hat. Alle anderen haben wir eigentlich verloren, auch die amtierende.
Also politisch
noch amtierende
sicherlich,
Ministerin.
politisch sicherlich ist es eben eine riesige Behörde, die mit Milliarden umgeht und die ihrer eigenen Fehler und Probleme niemals richtig Herr geworden ist, weshalb eben nicht viel fliegt und nicht viel schwimmt und nicht viel fährt.
Zugestanden? Ich sage nur kurz dazu, die natürlich auch immer, Stichwort Primat der Politik, da und so weiter zur Verpflichtung der Politiker beziehen wir.
Wie lange muss man üben?
Der Bundeswehr, Bataillons, der Oberstleutnant Kai Beinke, der kommandiert auch das Ganze zeremoniell.
Großer Zapfenstreich, richtet euch! Gewehr, über! Achtung, präsentiert das Gewehr! Zur Meldung. Augen rechts! Frau Bundeskanzlerin, ich melde, großer Zapfenstreich zu Ihren Ehren angetreten. Frau Bundeskanzlerin, anlässlich des großen Zapfenstreichs zu Ihren Ehren überreiche ich Ihnen die Urkunde des Wachbataillons beim Bundesministerium der Verteidigung. Augen gerade auf. Das Gewehr über. Gewehr ab. Großer Zapfenstreich. Gut. Serenade. Großer Zapfenstreich.
ab. Zum Gebet.
Jetzt folgt die Nationalhymne.
Gewehr ab. Fackelträger. Durch. Links.
Zapfen.
Beweglich, also Trainer hatte und es getanzt hat, aber Hildegard Knef. Und das ist
Scholz, davon kann man
bescheiden, wurde der Riese von der Verantwortung Flüssen zu bleiben. Krise Europas.
vor einer Krise einmal
Seit 15 Jahren, in dem der nie getrieben. So hat sie angefangen und alles außer
Es kann sie machen, nie
He has me as a guest, so you can go find there. That's a way that I'm going to be able to stay on YouTube. Just collaborating as a guest on new platforms. That's where you can find me. There's a new channel that's doing pretty well right now, so go subscribe to there if you missed the old content.
What's the name of the new channel?
It's called, it's just called Sneeko.
Okay.
Type Soldier of God, it pops up.
It does?
Yeah, I typed it in, it popped up.
Oh, okay.
But I guess it has to like register.
Yeah, it's pretty shadow banned right now. It's hard to find, but yeah, you can. I bet you could do some research.
All right, well, you and Abba, you're here. This is it, the big showdown.
I don't know. Albus has a lot of 30-minute videos. I just was curious if he still had stuff to say while we're in the call.
No, I said everything I had to say. I mean, it's just a repetition of what I told you.
I didn't really watch the video. I saw the beginning of it. I'm like, okay, he's doing the thing that a lot of people are doing right now. I get it.
Cool. Well, if you didn't watch it, then we good. We have nothing to talk about, I suppose.
Or maybe you could have told me instead of making another hit piece video, like, well, everyone's against me right now, while Big Tech's against me, all these soy boys, you could have sent a text or a call before making all these videos.
Hold up. So I texted you before I talked about the DJ academic stuff, and I texted you before. You remember I texted you, and I barely talked about you in that video. 1. 2, I didn't even make this video until you called me and you said, yo, how come you talk about this but not my deplatforming? I said, oh, well, if you want me to talk about the deplatforming, then I will. I already made the video before that. You told me to talk about it, and now that I've talked about it, you're like, well, why did you make a video about it?
I didn't tell you to talk about it. I said that on a commentary channel where you frequently talk about drama and that people you know in the community, that may be talking about how this is a problem that everybody can get wiped from all these platforms. And then also single out something that makes me look bad and makes it look like I'm committing an essay on camera. That's really not the reason. I was banned off of pretty much every single social media site. It has nothing to do with that. I think that's a bigger issue than trying to equate it to like I told you so or fresh and fit. That's too simple of a video. But I understand it does well for your audience.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I did it for the views. And anything else? There's nothing else to talk about. If you think I'm doing this because it's for views, then we have nothing to talk about. What can I offer in this conversation?
If it's not for views, why do you think you're doing it?
But you're already convinced of why I'm doing it. You're so sure that I'm doing it for the views. This is, again, what I spoke about the video. You are incapable of taking accountability. In your own final message, you're like, oh, KSI's hating. Oh, look at him gloating. And basically what he said in the clip is, I told him he's moving mad. And that's your idea. No. That's your idea of someone hating on you or making fun of you.
That clip was edited improperly. I didn't edit the video. He went on Twitter and he replied, who? When Keemstar said that Sneeko was banned on YouTube, he said, who? ? Which I think, is making fun of a situation where I got banned because he clearly knows who I am. We went back and forth. And so he's just trying to gloat and he's trying to make it about
Okay, so let me ask you, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity right now. What do you think that you did wrong to contribute to your situation?
Of getting banned off of every social media platform?
Yes.
Tell the truth.
Okay, all right, then this is my case in point. That's why I made the video. You are unable to see the ways in which you contribute to your own outcomes, and you
See
just think
the
you're just
reasons-
telling the truth.
You are unable to see why I got the strikes. You didn't talk about that. You didn't talk about the first strike was COVID misinformation. The second strike was election misinformation.
Yeah.
And the third one was cyberbullying for a clip that was not even what you played in the video. It had nothing to do with that.
Listen, once you made that clip on that girl, you know what happens? She talks to her manager. Her manager goes to YouTube, and YouTube finds a way to go after you without making her implicated. The reason why they didn't cite that clip is they didn't want your fans to go after her so you can quote her. YouTube has good ways of working. They won't actually claim what it is exactly for. They understand you've broken the rules, and then they work backwards. You don't understand that once you made that video, YouTube was looking at you all kinds of crazy. Now, you don't need to believe that. You can believe it's something else. You can believe it's what's telling the truth. I'm just wondering, when are you going to come into this
Video that I was
conversation
being
and
profiled
take
when I was playing
accountability
the
for why
Senate.
you are where you are?
You said yourself it was when I was being played in the Senate. It's much bigger than just one feminist getting mad at me.
So why haven't I been banned? Why hasn't Destiny been banned? Why hasn't anybody else on the is it because we're all bots?
Well, you play the middle ground. You don't really try to talk about stuff that's gonna make people uncomfortable.
Okay.
You don't talk about the issues that you don't question the powers that be, and you don't talk about the uncomfortable truths that are really happening.
Okay, what about
Wait,
Destiny?
hold on. I gotta
Destiny?
ask. Hold on.
What about Destiny?
Wait,
What
hold on.
about
To be
Destiny?
clear, my advice to you is not the same, okay, as Abba, who's a bot, okay? My only advice typically is that, and I think I'll repeat the same thing I said all the time, is, and I take this my own advice, is only find one person at a time. I think I've even told you that on stream. I think off stream before.
Was spielt
As long as you
er? Heute
find one
spielt nur noch
person at a time,
EDG,
you're
ne?
okay.
Aber
When
die
you start
spielen so
dipping in, like
spät,
2 or
ne?
3 or 4 different communities,
Da
shit
musst du
gets
schon lange
like
ins
really
Bett schon.
because like it's kind of Abba basically just
Möchtest du ein
reset
bisschen
what I
in der
said
Nase reiben,
before.
dass du
It's
frei
the
hast,
same thing,
Philipp?
like, when you do one really bad thing and people start to like, you catch their eye, people start to
Ich
look
habe
for
meinen
every
Schlafrhythmus so abgeschossen gestern. Holy moly.
Ja, das denke ich mir.
Es ging halt einfach bis fast 4 oder so ein Spaß.
Ja, es waren 5 Games.
Das ging ein bisschen lang, ne?
everything to axe you off of anything, and you'll start getting like, it's happening right now with a bunch of lefty YouTubers, actually me and Vosh, where people are just going through and like spam reporting every single video in our VODs because they don't like whatever shit. That's always like the thing to be careful of. But like, hold on, when you say like, I have to stand up for myself, okay, for a second. When you say like, don't speak truth to power or don't like make people uncomfortable, you understand that when you're talking about me, that's a really silly thing to say, right?
You
Like,
make people uncomfortable, but not the powers that be. Because it wasn't just YouTube. I was wiped off of every single social media platform except for Instagram. There's a reason that happened. There's a microscope on me.
okay, well, hold on.
And
I don't want to like make this a dick waving competition, but like, I've been banned off TikTok, I've been banned off Twitter, I've been banned off Twitch. Like, how many social media platforms have you been banned off of?
all of them except for Instagram.
Only been banned off 3.
Have you? Oh, did you up? Oh, speaking of Twitch, actually, real quick.
Wait, I got banned on Twitch for
Well, yeah.
2 days.
What was
for no
your
reason.
ban for on Twitch?
Ban evasion?
Did you ever appeal that?
Yeah,
What did they say when you appealed?
they haven't replied. And it's been like 2 weeks.
That's
They
weird.
banned evasion for an account you never had before?
Yeah, because if you didn't have an
I
account,
never streamed on Twitch, no. So
Yeah.
it's very clear that they don't want me. I'm talking about shit that they don't want to hear.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure somebody played that clip of you doing that to that girl, and they said, we don't want you doing that about Pokemon or anybody else. And they said, this guy got to go.
I think it's bigger than that clip. I think that's simplifying it for the audience that you have. I think it's much bigger. I think you're overlooking the COVID and the election misinformation part, which the first 2 strikes I got that happened even before that clip happened.
Well, I mean, listen, I can't speak to those 2 strikes. I will say that anytime I heard you speak about COVID or when you were...
Maybe
No,
if you were to talk about-
hold up.
No, but-
Let me finish. When I've heard you speak about COVID stuff or election stuff, you didn't know what you were talking about 95% of the time. I think there's a giant difference between someone's talking about edgy research or things that are counter to the popular narrative, and then what you were doing was just rambling about shit you didn't know about. Yeah, you sounded like a loony conspiracy theorist half the time you spoke about these. And if somebody else won't tell you, I will. So I'm not surprised they nailed you for that. There's sympathetic cases in which I think people make sensible cases against the COVID narrative, but you're not one of them. You were never one of them. You schizo about it.
This information is being posted all the time online. You can make an Earth is Flat documentary. You can make all these conspiracy theories. But why are only certain conspiracy theorists labeled as harmful, and why are only certain conspiracy theorists taken off and removed? If you think I sound like a lunatic, But why is it that mine is the one that gets removed and other people, it's fine?
No, people who spread nonsense conspiracies get removed off YouTube every day. They just don't get to be as big as you. They didn't come in on the platform on some other shit where they were where they were doing 1 minute podcasts that were like very kosher, and then once they had a big platform, all of a sudden they start talking loony conspiracies. But I can assure you, YouTube removes every single day a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists who talk just as bad as you, if not much worse.
What did I say that was nonsense?
Bro, I'd watch you talk about COVID. I knew you didn't know what you're talking about.
What? Tell me something specific.
Bro, I'm not gonna pull up the clips. I just tell you
then
that.
Don't say it's nonsense. Don't overwrite it as like lunatic conspiracy theories if you can't say one thing I said that's nonsense.
Well, so I mean, hold on. So because I do a lot of vaccine studying, so like basically every comment you made about vaccines was like calling it the jab, saying that it was like government mandated shit that wasn't gonna help you or make you feel any better. I don't know if you used the word poison ever in regards to it, but like basically everything you had to say about it was even like it. So like here's like a comparison I'm gonna make, and I hate this guy and I disagree with him, but have you heard of like Brett Weinstein?
Yeah.
That dude is I'm pretty sure that guy is pretty vaccine skeptic, and he's talked about a lot of vaccine related issues, but I think he's still on. I think he literally has a show on YouTube. But he probably brings up like a lot of the points that filter down to you, but he says it in a way less inflammatory way. It doesn't sound like he's just like going crazy, like screaming about vaccine.
It's not really what you say, it's how you say it. Because Abed cannot give any specifics. He says overall it's nonsense, it's conspiracy theorists, lunatic garbage. But if I'm saying similar things to Brett Weinstein and I removed it, it's pretty much
No. What you just said.
How you say it, not what you say.
What you
if it
just
hurts
said.
Feelings, if it triggers the bots, then they're going to remove it.
Yes.
If I'm too aggressive, if I'm too mean about it, then they got to remove it because people get.
Yeah, but what you just said is that's not only true on YouTube. That's true in life, right? Like how you say things sometimes is more important than what you say. In fact, you should know this from like your pickup artist shit, right? Or from like red pill stuff in terms of talking to women or whatever. Like sometimes it's not exactly what you say. Sometimes it's how you say things. But that's true everywhere. There's no place in life where that's not true, right? Like if I got a guy that I'm talking about and some guy's like, oh, is this guy very smart? And I'm like, of course he's not smart. He's a dumb fuck, right? That sounds a lot different than somebody saying like, is that guy smart? And I'm like, oh, well, you know, like he comes from like a really background, the guy never went to school, single mom or whatever, you know, like, yeah, he doesn't know a lot about finance. Now I'm saying the same thing, but it's way fucking different, right? Somebody's gonna hear the first thing and they're gonna lose their mind. They're gonna say, oh yeah, shit, okay, of course I understand, right? Even if it's the same thing, like how you phrase things or how you approach things. It's not so much that you're giving different information, it's that it makes the intention behind the information look a lot different. So like there are some vaccine skeptic people that like, I hear them talk and I hate what they say, but it's probably coming from like a decent place, a well-meaning place. But there are other vaccine skeptic people I hear where it's like, oh, this guy's just like filled with like vitriol and hate, and that's all he's about. Not necessarily saying you are, but I'm saying like how you say things is pretty important.
Okay. I think I proved my point by saying Abba labeled me as a crazy lunatic conspiracy theorist and could not say one thing.
Yeah, because you know what? When I hear retarded shit, I try not to keep it in my memory. And you said so much retarded, dumb stuff on your streams, I just would erase it immediately afterwards.
Destiny, you've heard this repeated in your panels. XQC said dumb shit. That other guy on the Muda, the Indian dude, said it's retarded. And every single time, I was like, okay, what's dumb about what I said? And nobody knows anything. They just don't like the way I said it, so they label it as retarded and write it off instead of listening to what I'm saying. Because it doesn't matter to them. They'll lowbrow me because they're 35, and they think that they know more than what I'm talking about, and they've been brainwashed to this point where they don't feel like they need to listen to me. But it's fine. They never know why they think I'm retarded. They just say I'm retarded, overwrite me, and then move on.
Yeah, that's generally how it works. When I watch something that's incredibly stupid on somebody's stream, I turn it off and move on to the next thing. And so, no, I'm gonna finish.
If you're a commentary channel, maybe you should have some points to bring up.
So if you want me to do an actual debate with you where I go and grab clips, I would normally, but everything's deleted, so a little bit hard to quote all the dumb shit you said. But absolutely, I would watch your stuff. I'm like, this is inaccurate, and I would just move on, stop watching it. Now you can go watch a debate with Destiny, and you could probably find a bunch of stuff that you said that was dumb. Just because I can't quote it to you doesn't mean you didn't say it. Just because my memory can't remember doesn't mean it didn't happen.
You're getting a little heated about it. I can remember all of Destiny's points that he brings up and tell you why I think he's wrong about it.
Okay, well, congratulations. You got a better memory than me.
Yeah, I know, but for you to have such a strong opinion about what I believe and to say it's dumb, stupid, retarded, and all this, and then not know one reason is pretty predictable. And we've heard it over and over again. DGG, everybody in this chat has heard it over and over again. I'll question people, why do you think it's stupid? They don't know.
I think there's a different barrier for like the expectation of knowing particular things depending on the environment you're confronting somebody at. No, hold on. So here's the thing, right? So this is something that I'll repeat a lot on stream. So my first relationship, well, my second one, my kid's mom, got really physically abusive. There's a lot of crazy shit that happened. And we fought over the dumbest things. It was so stupid every fucking time. It was like the most random stupid shit. But if something, and it was a lot. I called the cops on her 3 times. It was a crazy relationship. But if somebody would say, oh, really? You fought over dumb shit? What'd you fight over? Name 2 things. I actually don't know if I could. I don't know. I don't remember the specifics. I think as humans, I think we remember kind of these broad like characterizations of things, but we don't archive like every single individual fact because we're not computers. We usually come away from a feeling, we usually come away from an event with a certain feeling or emotion about it, and that's all we really take with us.
Like how Abba did going into this call, with
Do
a lot
what?
of emotion, a lot of feelings about how I'm stupid, but nothing to back.
Well,
it
no,
up.
no, no. Hold on. To be clear, wait. Abba came to this call to argue. Really? Did he really just? Oh, he mad. Wait, is my stream dead? Wait.
Oh, I think he left.
Yeah, that's why I just said really.
Yeah, he said I came into this call to argue and do this. I didn't come to this call.
No, yeah, fuck. I was just gonna say that. Yeah. No.
Going into this call, with
Do
a lot
what?
of emotion, a lot of feelings about how I'm stupid, but nothing to back.
Well,
it
no,
up.
no, no. Hold on. To be clear, wait. Abba came to this call to argue. Really? Did he really just? Hold on. To be clear.
Call, with
Do
a lot
what?
of emotion, a lot of feelings about how I'm.
All we really take with
Like
us.
how Abba did going into this call, with
Do
a lot
what?
of emotion, a lot of feelings about how I'm stupid, but nothing to back.
Well,
it
no,
up.
no, no. Hold on. To be clear, wait. Abba came to this call to argue. Really? Did he really just? Oh, he mad. Wait, is my stream dead? Wait.
Oh, I think he left.
Yeah, that's why I just said really.
Yeah, he said I came into this call to argue and do this. I didn't come to this call.
No, yeah, fuck. I was just
gonna
gonna say that. Yeah, to be clear, Abba came to this
Get
call
him
to
outta
chat
here.
with me and Dan about. Oh well, fuck.
See, this guy always runs away from accountability. That's why I find these red pill dudes often really cringe to me. It's like all accountability for women, none for themselves. Bad things happen to you, it's always the world. Like, I can't take you seriously as a man when you get up on this stream and you're crying about how things have happened to you, but you don't see the ways in which you contributed. Even when I f up, I understand. Like, listen, I remember this happened to me maybe 5 years back, right?
Mhm.
I ended up getting jumped when I left a club at one point. Okay, what had happened? What was that?
I just wanted to say bye. We're about to go get something to eat.
All right, man, go enjoy yourself.
Love you, buddy.
So
wait, are you guys in Miami right now, or?
Yeah, I'm in Miami.
Okay, cool. We might, if you want to get something to eat later when he's less mad. I'm here for a week and a half, so. But yeah.
Miami?
Yeah, I live down at I think I live like 5 minutes west of you guys. Yeah.
All right. You know, you guys want to hear something? I think you guys are gonna be proud of me.
Go for it. What's up?
I've realized I'm not a debater. I'm a master debater.
Nice.
And I just realized, man, I know my lane, so I'm gonna let you guys do the debating stuff. I'm gonna gladly watch with my popcorn, mouth full. But you guys have a W stream. Chat! W's in the stream right now! Spam them W's up, chat! Right now! Alright, bye, Abba. Bye,
Abba,
Destiny.
Abba, when you want me on your dating show, you can talk to me nice again. Bye.
Damn.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm out too.
Oh yeah. No, sorry, dude. You're in the middle of a bunch of wild stream drama. Don't worry. We're in the streamer world. We're all Kanye West. You know, just it is what it is.
It's just, bro, I came on the stream to talk economics and record labels, and then it turned into like, bro, quote the dumb stuff I've said before.
You understand my empathy drives on working on Max here. I'm sympathetic for him and empathetic to some extent, because like he probably had one of the biggest ricochets of like a rubber bands in career terms of like all time, right? Like he went from like being kind of like decently popular to grow, and in the past year he shut up immensely, had a 6-figure month on YouTube, and then next month was deleted off the internet. Right.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I can understand him not wanting to feel like I don't want to hear this shit right now about how like it's my fault and I need to do this and blah blah blah. Like everybody's after me, everybody's out to get me. I can understand that emotional response. I always say, like in debates, I don't expect anybody to change their mind immediately. I wouldn't. I don't. I'm stubborn. But yeah, at some point he needs to he has to step back and be like, okay, what is like within my control? Like what can I do? You know, like. When because I've gotten banned from so much shit at this point. Like when I get banned, my first day I'll always say this, like I'm gonna be mad as fuck. I'm gonna blame the world because fuck the world and it's not fair and it's not. It's bullshit. And I'll complain about that and I'll feel that. But then like day 2 is like, okay, well what can I do now? Because there's no point in crying over spilt milk. I'm not gonna be sad over shit that's happened. Life isn't fair, but so the fuck what? Like let's see what we do next. What other platform can we build? How can I change my behavior, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have to be able to do that second step, or else like my worry for Sneeko is he's gonna be a guy like basically ranting about the Matrix, you know, to 45 viewers on Rumble, 6 months from now, blaming like everybody, and then he's gonna get banned from Rumble somehow when they get bigger and pick up sponsors, and he's gonna be like, this is bullshit. Andrew Tate abandoned me.
The reason why I'm mad is I think it's sad. I think it's so avoidable, and we all said it was avoidable.
Yeah,
that's why I'm mad.
Yeah, as soon as he started fighting with like KSIs and like started to get more unhinged and like fighting with every single fucking person, and like wasn't like willing to like chill just a little bit, like cool your jets.
It's like watching somebody who drinks and drive get in a car accident, and then you ask him why, and then they say the other driver was stupid. It's like, bruv, you don't see it, and you're gonna keep drinking and driving. Okay, then go do whatever you want to do. At some point, I'm not gonna emotionally invest myself into making sure. And like, I didn't even. He got mad at me because I didn't cover the topic.
Well, probably because what he was asking, he probably wanted favorable coverage. That's probably what he was.
Which is such bullshit. Don't ask me for that. If I don't say nothing, it's generally because I have nothing positive to say most of the time.
Sure.
That's why that was me doing you a solid. I didn't keep open my mouth because if I would, I'm not going to get here and do some fucking,
PR stuff for you, basically.
I don't do that for nobody. I'm not going to do that. So I was hitting up offline and be like, yo, be careful. He didn't want to hear. He said, yo, these guys are whack. They didn't cover. I said, you want me to cover it? I'll cover it and I'll say the truth. Now, you don't need to like it. I don't really care at this point. But to me, there's just something really annoying about people who just expect everybody else to take accountability but don't understand their own involvement in situation. I get what you're saying about being maximum empathy, but at some point when everybody warns you what it is, and it's a different thing if something happens to you randomly, and then someone's like, yo, this is your fault. I can understand you being salty about that.
Yeah.
When like everybody's warning you. Everyone on the face of the planet's telling you you're going too fast and you don't give a shit. And then afterwards, you want to act all mad about everything, bro. You miss me. You lose a lot of my sympathy at that point.
I think it's
funny.
funny.
We all saw you crack.
Yeah, I think there's probably a stream clip. As soon as I think I literally said exactly to him that like, bro, you got to be careful because when you're on top and everybody's behind you, you'll feel like the wind is in your sails and you can take on the fucking world. But as soon as like the tides turn a little bit, you're going to be the loneliest motherfucker on the planet. And it always happens. Nobody has the internet jerk wave in their favor forever. Like the tides turn, like the waves ebb and flow. You can't pull that shit off forever. And you have to be like in a comfortable spot so that like when people start to hate on you, you're like, oh, I'm fine. I can chill or whatever. But if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, once the like waves are against you, like it's always the end. That's like the death knell for like every content creator that dies that way.
Yeah, and there's two separations when it comes to like what's smart and what's right. And I try to make that distinction in the video. I'm like, I think it's absolutely wrong that he got deplatformed.
For sure, I agree. Yeah,
but there's a difference between that and what's smart. I agree, you shouldn't get deplatformed. But if you're out here simulating yourself, fucking other people, if you're talking about COVID during a pandemic where, YouTube is extremely sensitive about all this information and you don't do proper research, and you don't like think about what the fuck that is that you're saying, when you're doing that, you're playing stupid.
Yeah, it's wild as fuck, but I actually can't believe I'm saying this. This is like a weird thing, but do you know who Low Tier God is?
Yes, I do know who he is.
Yeah, that guy actually, every single thing he's had to say on stuff related to this is completely right. He's like, bro, like people don't want this shit on their platforms. Like it's as simple as that. And until you need to start looking at it like that. Like what do they want on their platforms? If you're trying to think of like, well, what's right and what's moral and what's, supposed to be blah, 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 like you're fucked. You're like, that's not how these platforms work. They're thinking about like their business, about their bottom line, and they don't want to carry like ultra risky content and shit. And that's just the facts. Yeah. But,
I mean, that's a tough truth. I don't know. I just don't understand this kind of autistic, like, this is the truth, and I'm going to say no matter what. And because I believe it, it's like, you know what? Everything you say comes with a certain level of responsibility, especially when somebody's paying your bills. It's like, you got to understand how you're talking about these topics because it affects their bottom line. So you got to be smart. I'm not saying you can't say what you want to say, but if you're not even going to take the time to think it through, I mean, the business is going to act in its own interest. I don't think it's right, but it's just like, how do you think this kind of stuff should unfold in your opinion?
For me, like, how should people like Sneeko be dealt with?
No, what can we reasonably expect from platforms? I'm not asking.
Realistic. I think platforms need to fucking nut up. Okay, the idea, like, I just think platforms are pussies these days. I understand the expectation is going to act like pussies, but like when fucking Google is like pulling shit from people off of YouTube, like, bro, nobody's going to stop using fucking YouTube because Sneeko's on YouTube. Like, don't be fucking crazy. Like I feel like platforms, for some reason, they give in so easily. And like, I really don't. I know people say, oh, public pressure, blah, blah. I don't think the public pressure is there that much. I think the platforms are just super babies about it. But I mean, like, that's how they're going to act. I understand. Yeah.
You remember Adpocalypse happened?
Yep.
Somebody started reporting the fact that there's a bunch of weird stuff on YouTube, and all of a sudden advertisers start pulling their dollars. Yeah. Do you remember that, right?
I think that was in response. Was that the Jake Paul shit, or was that before that?
I think it might have been something else. I can't remember what the thing is. Now, imagine how easy it is for anybody to say, this is what male creators are doing on YouTube. They run his clip. How many advertisers do you think are going to pull?
No, I mean, I
Glaube, ich
understand.
kann keinen
It
klaren
could
Gedanken
get bad. It's always
fassen.
like, it's always random. You never know.
Ja, warum denn?
Weißt du,
Was? Das willst du mir aus dem Arsch ziehen, oder was?
weil ich schon gesagt habe. Ein Kader hab.
Ja, Janis, du bist Ende 30, ne? Du darfst man nicht mehr trinken.
Mhm. Das ist halt echt so.
Gibt kein Alkohol mehr.
Ich bin halt echt bald so weit, ne? Ich bereue es jedes Mal. So. Oh.
Zu sagen, dass du mir leid tust, oder das wäre eine Lüge.
Philipp, du bist einfach ein Hater, ne? Es ist einfach.
Oh nein, nicht Bobo. Ich hab gebobert.
Ja, weil du immer gemein bist.
Scheiße.
Jetzt schnell Tipp und gib jemand anderem die Schuld, ne?
Ja, das warum hast du mich abgelenkt?
Du hast mich abgelenkt.
Warum machst du sowas?
Du ganz fieser Hobbit bist.
Ich bin fieser Hobbit.
Ja, hast mich schon verstanden.
Yeah, it could get really bad, of course.
Right. Because that's stuff that's kind of hard to defend or how hard to, you know.
Yeah, no, I
most
agree.
people
But the
would-
only thing that sucks is that, like, at some point you would hope, and I know it's naive maybe, but like you'd hope that like companies would take like some sort of like principled stance on things. And it's like, well, you know, maybe it's important that we have like edgy content, or maybe it's important that we not like, you know, like I think that.
Whoa.
What?
Just like 30 minutes ago, you and Dan were fighting me tooth and nail on like some kind of pro-capitalist thing where companies will fuck over anybody to make their bottom line and make all their investment back. You don't think YouTube operates in that capacity at all?
Yeah, the
You're talking
difference
about
is
principles of a company, and like just earlier, just talking about like it's a capitalistic investment when it comes to artists and how they treat them.
Yep. So the difference is that like different people or different entities can bear different things. And I tend to judge people on what they can bear. So like when I say that like I don't really approve of gambling that much, I don't think I take a gambling sponsor, and I end up doing it and people judge me for it, it's like, that's fair, you can judge me. I make a lot of fucking money. I don't need to take a gambling sponsorship to survive, right? But if there's like a 200 viewer streamer and they're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about gambling, and then a big sponsorship comes by and, you know, 200 viewers, damn, that's a lot more to that person. I can understand their situation being a bit more compromised. I don't know if the entire music industry could exist offering every individual talent preferable contracts. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. But I do know that Google could have more of a backbone and resist some sort of advertiser pressure for at least a little bit to show that, like, hey, listen, like, we can have a diversity of content. People aren't going to fucking mass leave the platform. Like, it's bullshit that you guys are having this reaction. I think most of you come crawling back. Like, I think Google could bear it a bit more, but that's just how I view it.
I mean, it certainly could if Google was like a person with individual principles, but I think as a company, it's just really thinking about profits for the most part. I think its principles or whatever it professes, I think we both know that shit's secondary if non-existent. So
yeah, of course, but I mean, the
way YouTube acts is exactly how I would expect the capitalistic company that you guys described earlier to act. Which
yeah,
is,
but the hope,
I'm going to prioritize profit.
Yeah, the hope would be that in like it for the long-term health of the market, like we're not. If we keep running down this path, it's probably not going to be where we want to be. It's probably not a good thing, right?
Oh, I agree.
Because
so
like look at like today, like all like Ethan got fucking
ethics into how companies run their
business.
Yeah,
and Ethan just got like hit for a week from fucking YouTube. He probably feels mindfucked right now. Vosh took 2 strikes on his channel. He's feeling mindfucked right now. Like it seems like this shit is starting to like bleed over to like fucking everything, which is getting a little bit spooky, I think.
Also, you know, one thing I reject the whole notion that like one person monopolizes the truth. One thing that Sneeko does that I find absolutely cringe is like, I'm just telling the truth. I'm always the one who's telling the truth. And it's like, wait, so you think everybody else who's on that panel when you were speaking in front of Congress or whatever, do you think everybody else there
unfähig, halt irgendwas
doesn't
zu
speak
machen.
any form of truth? It's only you. And I think his head he really believes that. I'm like, Destiny, you don't think that you take on hard topics even just as much as Sneeko?
No, yeah, I need to stick up. I said I was going to stick up for somewhere. I get Train Ricks does that shit a lot too, where people will be in rooms like, I'm the only one that stands up for hard things. Like, bro, no, it's not. You're just wild, okay? I stand up for a lot of hard things. I've taken a lot of big revenue hits and shit. I got departnered over my Rittenhouse comments. I got fucking banned from Twitch that I've been on for 12 fucking years. Like chill. Like, all you're out here doing is like repeating shit that you heard on the fucking Joe Rogan podcast. Don't act like you're taking hard positions. Like, you've done like 2 seconds of reading on these topics. Fuck you. No, yeah, it's kind of dumb, I think, when people go for shit like that.
Yeah. What else was there? I think that pretty much covers that whole situation. Yeah, I think one thing that he said that I remember I got really annoyed with was when he said, this you can see in the video, I pretty much quote it, but he says, if you guys really cared, because he says like Abba calls me sometimes, he says he cares as he's giving me advice privately. If you really cared, you'd talk about my deplatforming. And my thing was like, bro, when I was giving you advice offline to how to keep your channel and keep things running, you didn't think that was caring at all? Like sometimes I think the people expect you to show appreciation for them is to either like suck off what they say or to like support anything they do irrespective of how wrong they are. And to me, that's not really supporting somebody. To me, that's not actually being, you know, somebody who cares about somebody. Like,
yeah,
I have to be able to tell you the truth when you're acting stupid, and I have to be able to tell you like some like uncomfortable stuff, even if you end up hating me, because that's what it means, in my opinion, to care about someone.
Yeah, of course. I say this all the time. You don't want like a friend group of dick riders because like you're never gonna get good advice, and then one day you're gonna be left like completely fucked, wondering what happened, and it's like, well, nobody around you had the actual like balls to tell you like what you needed to hear, you know?
Yeah. So I think that was like one thing that bothered me, and I think that's probably why I got a bit emotional when he's on my case, because I'm just like, bro, I don't waste my time talking to people offline. Like I can count on probably at one hand how many creators I really talk to offline. So if I take time, obviously this like, and you just spit that in my face like, oh, you don't give a shit, I'm like, bro, you can't be helped. And I don't even think this is a relationship that we should keep going, because I don't think I can do much more. You get me? So I think that's probably why I got annoyed. But yeah, I think that's the extent of what I got on the topic. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate because I think there's a potential there to do a lot of good go forth. But you know, if people want to squander it because they don't want to listen to
Ich wieder
nobody.
fertig machen, ja.
You know, another thing that pissed me off too.
Ja, die
Because
eigentlich
like you and I would say
richtig.
some shit, and this guy would be like, "Oh, you guys are bots, you're blue pilled, whatever." Andrew Tate would repeat the same
Was
thing.
würde
all
ich
of a
denn
sudden,
ganz
something
sagen,
is deep.
Philipp?
I'm like, bro.
Yeah, fuck no,
Ja, die klang
dude.
gerade so traurig, da habe ich es mir anders überlegt.
Dann geht, ne?
Kein Problem.
Alle Integrationen. Ich bin nicht fertig, muss ich jetzt anfangen, selber Integrationen zu schreiben. Philipp, dabei könntest du mir mal helfen, ne?
Was?
Na, wie ich für die Home, also nicht heute, wie ich für den Home Assistant so GitHubs mal pullen kann und mal abändern kann und probieren kann, dass ich da wegen Änderungen machen kann.
Das letzte geht Kraken runter.
Nein.
Fertig.
Machen wir wenn dann zusammen.
Warum denn?
Weil du ruhig auch mal was machen kannst, Philipp.
Was? Ich will nicht. Aber in Ruhe.
Anstatt immer nur profitieren, ne?
Ich bin ein Profitierer. Ach, Johannes.
You go, girl.
Ah, so Johannes, will ich eine Runde LOL machen?
Ob ich das gerade eh noch mehr habe.
Muss nicht.
Wäre ich nur wütend.
Du bist immer wütend, Johannes. Du bist immer wütend.
Ja.
Of requests to demonstrate how you use Home Assistant to charge your Tesla as a function of solar production. So once you have an instance of Home Assistant running, you can add to it all kinds of things, and you've probably experimented with it, but that we're going to focus specifically on charging the Tesla. No other electric car is capable of this, to my knowledge. They might later, I don't know, but only Tesla is capable of it at the moment. So currently we're making 177 watts from the photovoltaics. The battery is at 73%, so I'm not going to charge anyway. Well, I will, but only to 80%. The image of the car here is a switch. If I click this, it'll get connected to Home Assistant, something you want to do because you're going to need the current state of the battery. It'll stay connected for a while, then it'll disconnect. But if you get sufficient solar production, it'll get connected again. So to get started with an automation, you just click Configuration and Automations, and I've got 8 of them here. Half of them are for the car, the other half is for infrared panel heater. The 2 at the bottom are time charges, so I, over the winter, will charge between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. off-peak hours at a low rate, just to keep the battery up to a level that I want, because I know I'm not going to have much surplus solar in Michigan in February. We won't mess with this. Let's. Solar charging of a Tesla was an experiment that paid off pretty well. If you have a photovoltaic array, it makes sense to use it directly rather than letting the utility have your overproduction, because you're not likely to ever see it again. An example
Ach, Johannes, warum ist das so alt geworden so schnell?
3 megawatt hours.
Es macht Arbeit mit einem.
The house uses 2.
Ach, ich weiß nicht, ich arbeite für die jung und spritzig.
Never see that.
Ja, erinnere dich mal nächste Woche dran.
So I'm using Home Assistant to
Das sagst
charge
du
the
so
Tesla
was.
when I have surplus solar. It's worked so well that I have also included charging my 10-year-old electric Polaris Ranger. That came with lead-acid batteries that were supposed to be plugged in all the time because they self-discharge quite rapidly. Didn't do that, so they didn't last that long. But I replaced them with lithium iron phosphate, and that was about 7 years ago. They're doing quite well. So these can be charged to 95% with no issues, and then discharged to 20%. So I also charge that on surplus solar, but with a different scheme. I have to use a smart outlet, also on Wi-Fi, and turn it on when solar is available, turn it off when it isn't. So back to the Tesla. I've changed things up a little bit. I've got a forecast from the Ecobee thermostat. We've got 2 new graphs because this is the latest version of Home Assistant. If you have an electric car or are contemplating the purchase, you're probably going to want to recharge it overnight, at home, off-peak hours, at the lowest possible electric rate. Wouldn't it be great, though, if you could charge it directly from solar for free? Tesla has made that possible. During the spring, summer, and fall, a photovoltaic system is going to produce more energy, likely, than the house can consume. So that extra energy is going back into the grid, and the utility buys it at about half the retail rate. But there's a cap on it. You get to interrogate the Enphase envoy, which can whether or not you have enough energy from the photovoltaic. This is the Enphase Enlighten back into the grid and selling it all over the place. So it's that easy. Well, in a previous video, we talked about how to charge your Tesla for free on Sunshine using Android apps, one for the Tesla and one for the Envoy, which is the Enphase power controller that reports what solar production you currently have. And if solar production is greater than some threshold, which depends on how much your house needs to consume, why you can charge a car. And my house consumption is somewhere on the order of 300 watts during the day, so anything over what the car needs and what the house needs is free. So I start charging above 1400 watts just to be safe. Anything in excess of that is going to go to the grid at 8 cents per kilowatt hour, which will be banked. So, although it works, it involves some manual labor. Say if you lose solar production because of nightfall or cloud cover or who knows what, you really want to turn it off. Stop charging, because when the cloud passes, you'll get it back, and then you can charge for free. So this program is called Home Assistant, and it is really, really cool. It talks to everything on your network that has an API, and Tesla does. So does Envoy. So we can look at solar production, current, in real time. I've got some other stuff on there that isn't really necessary, like the BN Link modules. That's for infrared heating later on. As the weather gets cold, I'm going to want to use my excess solar production for heat, as well as charging the car. The Ecobee gives me current status, the house temperature and humidity, and set points, which can be changed.
Caramba, caramba, caramba.
Currently, under the Tesla charging control, we're seeing 1.929 kilowatts being produced by the photovoltaic system, and it is 11:15 late in August. What is the date? Oh, it's the 17th. That will exceed 2 kilowatts because we got a nice sunny day, and you can see that the Tesla Model Y charger switch is on because it exceeds the 1400 watt threshold that I want. The battery state of charge is currently 82%, and that will not exceed 90. The car will limit that, so I don't have to worry about turning off the charger at 90%. The car will take care of that. It's currently charging at 1,000 watts. That is the minimum rate. If you set the charge current at 5 amps, you're really getting 4 amps because Tesla limits that to 80% of the set point. Why they do it at that low, I don't know, but they do. So you have to account for it, which is fine. At 1,000 watts, it'll take me about 5 hours to get to 90%, and I've got plenty of sunlight for that. I can charge for free. The automations included in Home Assistant are really, really cool. I'm having a little difficulty with a couple of them, but if you set the trigger criteria to energy production, you can turn the charger switch on and turn it off simply by sending a message over your local area network or your Wi-Fi LAN. Home Assistant is smart enough to know how to do that, so you don't have to. You simply set up a trigger. If your solar production exceeds, say, 1,400 watts in my case, start charging. If it drops below 1,000 watts, stop charging. That simple. There are some conditional elements to that, but it's not very complicated. So I'm experimenting with this, a standalone version. You don't have to create any virtual machine to make it go. I was hoping the sun would go away here. You can see a view of the backyard, but we got plenty of sun. There's lots of shadow. It'll stop charging, and when the cloud's gone, it'll start charging. It's pretty cool. Just a quick update using Home Assistant to charge a Tesla on surplus solar power. This has been working beautifully for me. I did find a couple of problems, though. One problem with Home Assistant and one problem with the Tesla. Neither one are defects. They are just something that you have to be aware of. Home Assistant, for instance, in the automations, when you establish a threshold crossing to which results in an action, means just that. It has to cross the threshold. So if you start the program perhaps late in the day and you've already got plenty of solar and it is already above your charging threshold, you're going to have to start it manually because it had no knowledge that it had crossed a threshold. So there's one thing to remember: your charging threshold. Already got plenty of solar and it is already above your charging threshold, you're going to have to start it manually. And it is all perhaps late in the day and you've already got plenty of solar and it is already above your charging threshold, you're going to have to start it manually because it had no knowledge that it had crossed a threshold. So there's one thing to remember, that a threshold crossing is what is required to both start charging and to stop charging. Now with the Tesla, what I found is that it can become disconnected from Wi-Fi all on its own. When you drive the car home, it connects with Wi-Fi automatically, as it should, but with no communication activity, after about 30 minutes, I haven't timed it yet, it will disconnect itself from the Wi-Fi. And that ordinarily is not a problem unless you're trying to communicate with it. Now, there's two ways that you can reestablish communication. One is to open a door manually. The second just open the Tesla app. If LTE is available and the signal strength is sufficient, why, it will reconnect with Wi-Fi after you wake the car up. Once Home Assistant has control of charging and it's making transitions frequently enough, it'll never lose the Wi-Fi connection, and it works just fine. So if it's continually charging, it also will remain connected and no issues. The only time you have an issue is perhaps when you have a lot of cloud cover for long periods, say greater than 30 minutes, and the solar power available to you currently drops below the threshold to stop charging. It will stop charging, and if the cloud cover remains for perhaps 30 minutes or more, it will disconnect itself from the Wi-Fi because it's no longer communicating. So that too is something to keep in mind. If you want to restart the automation, you probably have to do that manually after you have reestablished Wi-Fi connection. That may or may not be true. If the automation is still running and it's waiting for that trigger, but the car is disconnected, it won't work. But if the automation is running and you reestablish communication, it should work just fine. I've had no issues with Home Assistant. It's been working very well. I'm quite pleased with it. I can see many other applications, not just driving free on sunshine. Wanted to give an update here on Tesla charging automations using Home Assistant. The idea being that I only want to charge the car when I have more solar than the house can use. I don't want to sell any back to the utility because really they don't buy it. They just give you a credit and it's worth less than what it's really worth if you use it locally in the house. So it's been later in the day, and they were frequent, but of short duration. 81% state of charge so far. Not too bad. Only got 9% to go, which will not complete today because it's about 4 p.m. now, 4:30. But it will tomorrow. So here are the automations used for this. Oh, I want to point out the HVAC data here. Has been here all along, but I haven't used it until recently because I couldn't figure out how to use it. But we got that figured out now. So what I want to know is what is its current state. Right now it's idle and the temperature is. So let's go to configuration, automations, drop. I'm only for a while reduction back surplus. But if we make a transition from 89, if surplus solar. Wanted to give an update here on, and I keep 1800 want to charge during the day because that's the on-peak rate, which is higher, about 20 cents a kilowatt hour. Off-peak is...
Oh, get the fuck up out of here. I played clips back to back of what Andrew Tate said, what I said, and this dude had so much smoke when I said it. I'm like,
wait, are you talking about when Tate was talking about the college shit?
You'll go to school. The very talented kids will be taken to the side. You're the top 1%. You're going to a separate class. And if you're not put in that separate class, you know you ain't. You're just like, okay, I'm working in the factory. Yes, sir. That's my job. And you're just going to do your job because the ego ain't there. So the ego is a fantastic thing for America, but it's also a detriment. So it can play both ways. But
I think if you know the value that you bring to the world, you understand what you bring, then you could kind of put yourself in a position to win, because we're not all going to be, like you said, leaders. Some people are followers. So.
But this is my point. When everyone has an ego, everyone wants to be the king on the chessboard.
Yeah.
You don't win.
I feel like when I was talking to Sneeko, didn't I actually use the exact phrase like too many chiefs and not enough Indians? Probably because society works better when you've got a lot of followers and just a few leaders. If you've got a society full of people
right?
Yeah, if you got a society full of everybody wants to be a leader, too many chiefs, not enough Indians is a saying, right? Then like society would probably fall into fucking disarray. Everything would be fucked, would be my guess. Like there's a name for this. Like it's a well-observed thing where everybody thinks they want to be a leader and everybody wants to blah, blah, blah.
The chess game by having endless kings. That just gives you a bunch of vulnerabilities. Everyone has to know their role and play it. I've played the role of fucking pawn, knight, my whole life. I was pawn, knight, bishop, rook.
No, I didn't talk about the car. I didn't see that clip.
Oh, dude, oh my god, I almost lost my mind. So we're watching this clip of like the emergency meeting bullshit or whatever, and Andrew Tate is talking about how like, yeah, I think like, you know, you got to find what you're good at and you've got to do it. And I think Sneeko says something like, oh yeah, but like everybody's got to be a superstar, like you should go for the max. And Andrew Tate was like, no, of course not. Some people, their role in life might be to be like a really good auto mechanic or something. Like not everybody has to be like the top. Like it doesn't work when you've got everybody wanting to be a leader. Like you need a lot of followers. Like, you know, when I was this, I played my role. I went to the gym. The guy told me to punch the bag. I did it for, 10 months and I didn't think about it, blah, blah, blah. And Sneeko said nothing the whole time. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like saying almost verbatim, like some of the lines that like me and Abba were giving him in the college debate. And he like, we just sat there and took it all. I was like, oh my God, I'm so triggered right now. Yeah. Also,
where's the truth then? If you always keep the truth, why didn't you keep that same energy? I'm like, bro, you see? So when it's somebody you need something from, all of a sudden, that's the shit that really like annoyed me, especially when he tries to monopolize the fact that he's always a truth teller. I'm like, bro, miss me with it. You gonna say something?
No, yeah, I agree. It's just, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. It's just like, come on, bro. But anyways, that's not something. Yeah. There's just those little tiny things that I'm like, you don't see anything you did wrong in all of the.
Ein Computersystem, welches von der Rechenleistung so stark ist wie 100 PlayStation 5 zusammengenommen.
Game Changer. Deutsche Premium-Qualität zu nicht deutschem Preis. NIOs erstes Modell kommt zu uns. Akkuwechsel statt Akkuladen und das in nur 5 Minuten. Klappt das wirklich? Was kostet das? Welche Vorteile bietet es? Ist es nötig? Mehr Platz als die Konkurrenz? 650 PS. Für alle Varianten. Und bei Wunsch mehr Akku durch Updates? Das klingt vielversprechend. Ist er also ein Gamechanger? Kann er BMW und Co. die Stirn bieten oder sogar die Butter vom Brot nehmen? Das erfahrt ihr hier im Megatest bei Carmaniac.
Und ich kann euch prophezeien, auf diese Frage gibt es schon mal eine Antwort. Vorab so als kleiner Cliffhanger. In vielerlei Hinsicht hat er definitiv die Nase vorn, aber es gibt auch Punktabzüge. Welche das sind, erfahrt ihr natürlich nur in diesem Video. Deswegen heiße ich auch jeden neuen Abonnenten herzlich willkommen hier auf dem Kanal. Ich freue mich wirklich über jeden Einzelnen, vor allem in der Interaktion, im Austausch unten in den Kommentaren, wenn noch irgendwelche Fragen hängen bleiben sollten. Ihr seht schon, ich war schon auf der Autobahn. Wir haben hier so Fliegendatscher. Deswegen kann ich schon mal teasern, dass das auch sehr interessant wird, ganz speziell im Vergleich eben mit dem Markt. Wer sind da die Kompetitoren? Mercedes EQS, BMW i7, BMW iX, auch Tesla natürlich, auch an allererster Stelle vielleicht sogar viel mehr, als ihr jetzt noch gerade denkt. Wenn wir das Design angucken, wir hatten den Wagen ja schon statisch, das wisst ihr, haben viele geguckt, deswegen brauche ich, glaube ich, da so gar nicht genau darauf einzugehen. Viele BMW-Designer und Ingenieure sind abgewandert von BMW und sind zu NIO gegangen. So hat das Auto auch wirklich, er wird designt in München. Ist gar nicht so dieser typische Asia-Schick, sondern das Auto ist einfach sehr filigran, eine wunderschöne Form, einfach eine wahnsinnig schöne Limousine. Gleich kommen wir zu den Preisen, das wird interessant, denn kaufen könnt ihr ihn nicht, also ihr könnt ihn schon haben, aber kaufen könnt ihr ihn nicht. Was dahinter steckt, sage ich euch gleich. Vorher erstmal das Datenblatt zu dem Auto, denn auch das ist sehr interessant. Einfach aufgrund der Idee, die NIO dahinter hatte. Wir haben hier einfach nur eine Ausführung, die ihr kaufen könnt. Das ist mit 2 Motoren, vorne und hinten. Hinten 300 kW, vorne 180 kW. Sind 480 kW oder 650 PS. Damit spielt er in der Liga eines BMW iX M60 oder eines Mercedes EQS 53 AMG. Also das ist schon ordentlich Dampf. In 3,9 Sekunden geht es von 0 auf 100. Topspeed und sowas verrate ich euch dann auf der Autobahn. Jetzt wird es aber interessant, denn ihr habt 2 Akkuvarianten zur Wahl. Einmal 75 Kilowattstunden und einmal 100 Kilowattstunden. Lithium-Ionen-Akkus. Das ist nicht der Feststoffzellen-NIO, was ich auch schade finde letzten Endes, dass bei der Weltpremiere, die ich euch gezeigt habe, damals so viel über Feststoffzellen-Akku gesprochen wurde und der dann gerade nicht kommt. Es ist gerade nicht absehbar. Deswegen darauf warten, ja oder nein. Also generell von der Idee ja. Aber weil man nicht sagen kann, wann der kommt, eigentlich eher nein. Mit 100 Kilowattstunden habt ihr einen perfekten Reisebegleiter auch für die Langstrecke. Feststoffzelle, darauf gehe ich jetzt gar nicht so viel näher ein. Höchstens die 2 Vorteile nenne ich euch. Wenn es dann soweit ist, erkläre ich euch das alles neu, wenn der dann so kommt als Feststoffzellen-NIO. Feststoffzelle hat halt einfach auf der gleichen Akkugröße mehr Kapazität, ergo auch mehr Reichweite und nur fast halb so viel Gewicht. Also das ist dann nochmal so der richtige Bruce Lee K.O.-Tritt, letzten Endes den NIO machen könnte, haben wir noch nicht. Also wie gesagt, Lithium-Ionen. 75 oder 100 Kilowattstunden. Das Auto könnt ihr aber nicht kaufen. Ihr könnt es nur abonnieren. Und bevor ich euch erkläre, wie, könnt ihr natürlich auch, wenn Abonnieren überhaupt nichts für euch ist, sondern ihr sagt, ich möchte mein Auto generell kaufen, ich möchte, dass das meins ist, ich fahre das dann auch 6, 7 Jahre, dann schaut vorbei auf Evium. Da findet ihr natürlich von unseren über 4000 Händlern Neuwagen, Gebrauchtwagen, aber auch natürlich Vorführer und könnt vielleicht noch dieses Jahr zulassen und die ganze Umweltprämie abgreifen. Und wir haben ganz speziell für alle Neulinge, die vom Verbrenner kommen, einen Kostenrechner, mit dessen Hilfe 100 Euro Differenz. 25 Autos von, ja, natürlich gegen Aufpreis, wenn ihr von 75 auf 100 Kilowattstunden wollt, logischerweise. Und ihr werdet in diesem Video noch sehen, wie schnell dieser Battery Swap geht. Und dann könnt ihr das einfach tauschen und habt plötzlich einen 100 Kilowattstunden Akku, weil die von BMW oder Porsche ist. Das ist ja noch gar nicht mit reingerechnet. Ja? Schaut einfach mal vorbei auf Evium. So, wie viel kostet jetzt nun dieses Auto in diesem Abo-Modell? Ihr könnt von einem Monat bis 60 Monate abonnieren, wie ihr lustig seid. Finde ich sehr cool, denn man kann da reinschnuppern und sagen, ich bin nicht so ganz mutig, ich traue der Sache noch nicht, ich will es erst mal ausprobieren. Und wenn es euch nicht gefällt, könnt ihr innerhalb von 2 Wochen kündigen und dann das Auto zurückgeben nach einem Monat und habt nur einen Monat bezahlt. Je nachdem, wie viele Monate ihr liest oder abonniert, habt ihr dann sozusagen den Preis. Der ist folgendermaßen. Bei der 75 Kilowattstunden Variante, wenn ihr euch für ein Jahr entscheidet, bei 15.000 Kilometern im Jahr, zahlt ihr knappe 1.300 Euro und ein paar zerquetschte für den 75 Kilowattstunden Akku und für den 100 Kilowattstunden Akku zahlt ihr 1.400 Euro, knapp drüber. Also 100 Euro Differenz. Unter den Teppich gekehrt bei dem Preis, finde ich, weil ihr habt ja einen 25% größeren Akku, ja, und habt dadurch fast schon 100 Kilometer Autobahnreichweite mehr mit dem großen Akku als mit dem kleinen Akku. Wegen 100 Euro Differenz bei dem Preis macht das keinen Unterschied. Wenn ihr sagt, ich möchte 36 Monate, dann geht der Preis natürlich ein bisschen nach unten. Dann geht er um 100 Euro runter. Ich blende euch das alles mal ein, damit ihr eine perfekte Übersicht habt. Aber die Differenz zwischen großem und dem kleineren Akku sind immer 100 Euro. So, 15.000 Kilometer. Wenn ihr mehr Kilometer wollt, erhöht sich natürlich ein bisschen der Preis. Das sollte klar sein. Ein krasser Clou bei der Sache beim Nio ist, dass ihr auch gar nicht in Service fahren müsst. Ihr kriegt momentan auch, wenn ihr einen bestellt, den Wagen geliefert nach Hause, flächendeckend, völlig egal, wo ihr wohnt. Und der Service wird auch bei euch zu Hause gemacht. Das heißt, ihr müsst nicht zum Service fahren mit dem Auto. Also das ist eine krasse Sache, wie ich finde. Denn User Experience bei Elektroautos ist ja so eine neue Mode, es dem Kunden so einfach wie möglich zu machen. Und ich finde, Nio lebt das sehr gut. Und das war es ja noch nicht, denn ihr könnt sogar sagen, hey, mein Berufsspektrum hat sich geändert. Ich muss jetzt mehr fahren oder weniger fahren. Dann sagt ihr einfach, okay, ich möchte von der 75 Kilowattstunden Batterie auf die 100er upgraden oder andersherum. Und das könnt ihr mit einem ganz einfachen Akkutausch machen. Das ist eine Sache von ein paar Sekunden. Das bucht ihr, ja, natürlich gegen Aufpreis, wenn ihr von 75 auf 100 Kilowattstunden wollt, logischerweise. Und ihr werdet in diesem Video noch sehen, wie schnell dieser Battery Swap geht. Und dann könnt ihr das einfach tauschen und habt plötzlich einen 100 Kilowattstunden Akku, weil die Motoren sind ja die gleichen, der Rest auch. Und das ist Customer Experience at its best. Also ihr wollt keine Anglizismen, das ist Nutzerfreundlichkeit in seiner allerbesten Form, in meinen Augen. Richtig geil. Wäre da noch der Feststoffzellenakku. Was er auch serienmäßig mit dabei hat, ist eine Wärmepumpe. Das sollte eigentlich selbstverständlich sein bei diesen Preisen. Aber ist es nicht, weil der EQS hat zum Beispiel keine. Und das ist im Winter schon nicht schlecht, vor allem auf Kurzstrecke. Wenn ihr den Wagen rein hochgerechnet als Pendant setzt, kostet er weniger als ein EQE, bietet aber so viel Power wie ein EQS AMG und Platz sogar mehr als ein EQS, sogar mehr als ein i7. Gucken wir uns gleich an. Also rein preislich steht auf jeden Fall attraktiver da, ist aber trotzdem kein Schnapper. Das muss man sich erstmal leisten können. Aber ich glaube, die meisten Kunden, die diese Preisklasse abdecken, leasen ja tendenziell sowieso und kaufen nicht. Wie macht ihr das? Schreibt es gerne in die Kommentare. Oder wenn ihr halt kaufen wollt, könnt ihr das natürlich auch auf Evium. Wir haben hier hinten eine gute Nachricht, die befindet sich unten. Das heißt, der Wagen kann 2 Tonnen anhängen. Also Anhängelast 2 Tonnen. Das ist sehr gut, denn damit ist er im oberen Bereich. Nur der iX kann mehr, ist aber auch ein SUV. Oder Tesla Model X, aber der EQS zum Beispiel gar nicht. Der kann 750 Kilo, ist also fernab davon. Damit kann man also ordentlich was ziehen. So, der Kofferraum, den hatte ich euch auch schon gezeigt. Ich zeige ihn euch kurz nochmal. Da gibt es einen kleinen Punktabzug, ganz speziell im Vergleich zu Model S von Tesla und EQS von Mercedes. Denn Wir haben hier diese Scharniere und dadurch, dass der Wagen, also dass der Kofferraum hier öffnet, ist halt hier eine Luke. Bei Model S und EQS öffnet das Ganze hier oben an den Scharnieren und die ganze Heckfensterpartie geht mit und du kannst das Auto ja viel einfacher beladen. Also ich kann zum Beispiel meinen Juice Booster von hier oben so reintun, anstatt hier mich so reinzukrücken und so reinzuklettern, um einen Koffer oder einen kleinen nach hinten gerutschten Gegenstand rauszuziehen. Ja? Hier alles mit Filz verkleidet, riesen Pluspunkt. Kein Plastik, bei Mercedes und auch bei BMW gibt es hier Plastik, hier nicht. Auch hier oben alles mit Filz, auch hier oben alles mit Filz. Das meine ich mit Qualitätsanspruch, wenn einfach um die Decke gedacht wird, kürzer als EQS und i7. Der Wagen misst in seiner ganzen Länge 5 Meter, sehr interessant sogar. Auf geht's. Willkommen in einer für uns neuen Welt. Der NIO ET7 ist für viele eine neue Welt, aber auch vielleicht gar nicht so eine neue Welt. Tesla-Fahrer werden das ja mal direkt anmerken. Ja? Ich meine, egal was wir uns hier angucken, ist das sehr an Tesla angelehnt. Ich sage bewusst nicht abgeguckt, sondern angelehnt,